Hey, beautiful people. Welcome back to the Winsome Black podcast, a space where we navigate life in real time. We talk about growth, balance, and becoming without the pressure of having it all figured out. Today's episode is about friendships, how we build them, how we show up in them, and what happens when that change or even end. Because friendships isn't just something that we have on the side. They shape us, they support us, they strengthen us, and sometimes they disappoint us. This episode isn't only about friendship breakups. It's about understanding what we want from friendships, how we communicate those needs, and how we create connections that actually feel genuine. So whether you're navigating new friendships, grieving old friendships, or simply reevaluating your circle, this conversation is for you. So I first want to talk about how we view friendships. To me, friendship breakups only hurt when you actually value friendships. And if you're listening to this podcast, chances are you do. Now, I've heard people describe themselves as low-maintenance friends. And when I first heard that, I kind of laughed because what does that actually mean? Like, literally, what does that actually mean? So I did a little research and noticed that the most common thing that was talked about in these videos was that they go months without talking to their friend. And at first I was like, okay, I understand we go through things in life. We're maybe not in the best headspace to connect with our friends. So you may spend some months apart. That's understandable, life happens. But in the video, they made it seem like even in a normal headspace, they go 5 or 6 months without talking to their friends. And for me, that is not a friend. That is an associate. Now, each friendship looks different, and there's no judgment on my part, but I personally don't have any friends in my life that I go 5 or 6 months without talking to. Because at that point, are we friends or are we associates? And sometimes I feel like we use the term friend too loosely. So while doing some research, that conversation brought up another conversation where women were saying that they feel like some women want friendships to be treated like a romantic relationship and how that's weird. Now, I don't feel like the things that they were describing in the video were women wanting friendships to be treated romantically. They just wanted respect. So someone expecting consistency, communication, and emotional care in friendship is too much. But I don't think the issue is that women want friendships to be romantic. I think the real issue is that we've normalized low effort friendships. Wanting honesty, presence, and reciprocal friendship is not romance, it's respect. We're taught to pour deeply into our romantic relationships, but when it comes to our friendships, it suddenly feels uncomfortable or weird to be consistent and communicate. And I think that says more about how little we value friendships than it does about women being too much for wanting consistency and emotional care. Maybe the question isn't why some women want more from friendships, but it should be why does it make people uncomfortable when women want consistency? So another conversation that I saw on social media that I thought was very interesting about friendship is how single women expect more from their friendships, and in return, they expect their friend to take the role of a partner. And as someone who has been single for a long time, I wanted to make it very clear that I value my friendships deeply whether I'm single or in a relationship. And I think where the confusion comes from is that people assume that depth equals dependency. Wanting consistency, emotional safety, and effort in friendships isn't asking for romance. It's asking for mutual respect. At the same time, it's important to be honest about that. Your friends don't owe you what only a romantic partner can give. And healthy single people understand that. For me personally, I have a variety of friends. So when I want to connect or spend time with someone, it doesn't feel overwhelming or overbearing because I'm not depending on 1 or 2 friends to meet my social need. But let's be clear, in the season of making friends, you need to learn how to be by yourself. You need to learn how to go out by yourself without feeling the shame or embarrassment. Because for some reason, that's embarrassing to some to be out to dinner by themselves. But for me, I'm gonna go to a restaurant by myself any chance I get. Because it's something within yourself, like spending time with yourself is so important. And it boosts my confidence to be sitting in a restaurant by myself. So maybe the issue isn't that single women expect too much in friendships. Maybe we don't know how to talk about platonic relationships without automatically labeling it as too much. So let's honestly talk about how to create genuine friendships. Because wanting deeper connection means that we have to be intentional about our friends. The first thing is one of the most important things to me. And that is be honest about who you are and what season in your life you're currently in. Whatever season you're in, it is important to communicate that with any new friends that you have. Because for me, I'm very honest and open. And if you're going through something in your life, it's not impossible for you to still make friends, but you want to be honest about where you are in life. You don't have to overshare it, but you want to be upfront about what season you are in your life. There's been times where when I was working my 2 jobs and going to school, although I wanted to create friendships, I wasn't honest and open about what my timeline looks like. My response times were kind of long. And for me to be wanting to make friends, I needed to make that very clear that friendship still is important to me, but my response times may be a lot longer because of what I have going on at the moment. And a lot of people respected that once I started being honest and open about that. The next thing is focusing on consistency. In my opinion, real friendships are built in small moments. You check in, you follow through with plans, and you remember details. Those are important things in friendships. And the next thing is allowing friendships to develop naturally. Not everyone you meet will be a close friend, and that's okay. I always say some people you meet for a season, and it's for a reason. And I just think it's important not to think that everyone that comes in your life is meant to stay forever. Because sometimes it's just lessons that you needed to learn. And the next thing that I think is really important is communicate clearly and early. It's okay to say what you need, whether it's honesty, check-ins, or quality time. I have a friend like that. She loves when I do check-ins. And so I do a weekly check-in with her. And as a friend, I don't think it's too much. I would rather me check in on you than me not know that you're going through a dark moment in your life. And the last and one of my favorite things is to reciprocate what you desire in that friendship. How do you want your friends to show up for you? What does effort look like to you? What does genuine friendship look like in your book? Our definition of quality time can look different. So you just want to make sure you're clear about what you desire and also what friendship looks like to you, because I think our definition has changed over the years for people, and so that's where miscommunication and misinformation starts to form. And I don't want a friendship or a potential friendship to end before it starts because of miscommunication. Genuine friendships are not forced. They're cultivated through intention and care. So years ago, I heard a quote that really stuck with me, and the quote was, "You never know what place you hold in someone's life. You may think you're important to them, but you might just be an option." And I take that with me in every single friendship, because there's been times that I've been ghosted and it really bothered me because I think we have a strong connection. We're talking every day for months. We go out several times, and just for me to be ghosted at the end. Now, at those moments, I did have a mild crash out, because the first time I experienced that, I was like, I don't know how people actually do that. We're all adults. And so if you truly feel like there's no connection, just say that. It's very simple, especially when we've exchanged numbers, we've went on several friendship dates. Like, just communicate. And to me, I don't feel like I'm losing out when this happens, because at the end of the day, if you're the type of friend that just ghosts, I personally don't want nothing to do with it. I understand that people have real lives and real struggles, but communication still matters. And if someone can't send a simple message like, "Hey, I'm currently going through a lot right now, and so I may be distant. I'll reach out to you when I'm ready." That was simple and easy. And for me, that's important. And so while I was very upset and kind of crashed out about that moment, at the end of the day, I had to kind of process that to move on. One of the hardest part about friendship is knowing when to extend grace or when to recognize a red flag. Now, to me, a red flag is a pattern of disrespect, repeated neglect, or emotional harm. Growing pains, however, are occasional mistakes, lapse in communication, or busy seasons that temporarily pull someone away. Not every moment in a friendship is a red flag, but patterns always tell the truth. Many friendship breakups happen because no one wants to say the hard stuff out loud. And I think that's important for a friendship. And in friendships, you should be able to be honest. Have those hard conversations. If you feel some type of way, come to that person. For me, I value my friends a lot more when they come to me, because I don't want you stepping on eggshells around me. I don't want you to feel like you can't say something because you think I may be defensive. That's not how friendships should be. And I don't want you to ever feel like that, because are we in a real friendship if you feel like you can't come to me and say what you need to say? So when this happens, when it's the other way around and I feel like I need to have a hard conversation, the first thing I do is express my need without accusation. No one wants to feel like you're targeting them in the conversation, but just be honest. At this moment, I feel like we're disconnected, and what I would like for us to do is have more check-in. If that's something that they can do, then they'll let you know. It's important to know what you're aiming for in healthy friendships. There's times where you may be in a season where you're happy, you're healthy, but your friend may be going through a depressive season. And so they're standoffish, they're distant. As the friend who is in a better season, how do you show up for that friend? Let's talk about the hard part, when a friendship ends. To me, friendship breakups hurt sometimes just as much as a romantic one, because they rarely ever offer closure. There's no official conversation, no clear ending, just distance, confusion, and unanswered questions. But not every friendship is meant to last forever. Sometimes friendships end because people grow, priorities change, And sometimes the effort was never mutual to begin with. And letting go isn't about bitterness, it's about discernment. It's about recognizing when you're showing up consistently and the other person isn't, and choosing to protect your emotional space without making yourself wrong for wanting care. I'll admit, I can always improve on my communication. My friends tell me all the time. But life gets busy, seasons change, but I try to show up for my friends regardless of what I'm going through. Support them, celebrate them, and respect them. And if that isn't reciprocated, I don't want it. Friendships should feel safe, they should feel mutual, and it should feel respectful. Setting boundaries doesn't make you cold or difficult, it makes you wise in protecting your peace. So in that season, your circle will evolve, life will evolve, and so will your friendships. So today I want to remind you, if a friendship changes or ends, your feelings are valid. It's okay to grieve, it's okay to reflect, and it's okay to move forward without feeling guilty. Protecting your emotional space is important. Choosing friendship that aligns with your values is necessary. Thank you for sharing this space with me. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who may be navigating friendships in a new season, whether that means finding new friendships or ending old friendships. Until next time, keep growing, keep balancing, and keep becoming.